China this time hit back quite fast and strong, imposing the same 34% tariff rate on all U.S. products entering the country. And on top of that, it also put 7 more rare earth minerals into its export control list. So those minerals are used in all sorts of high-tech applications, including in the defense sector. So China this time around really showed that we wanted to match the U.S. strength in imposing these tariffs and other trade measures.
Brendan, I was surprised. I mean, the president definitely doubled down, right, yesterday. I mean, I would have thought that with the global market rout that we saw on Friday, and actually I think the markets lost some $5 trillion last week, he would kind of pause. But yesterday he basically said, stop thinking about the markets for 2 hot seconds.
Exactly, and he had his, his top economic officials out, saying the same thing. Basically, I think, we heard President Trump many times say that trade wars are good and easy to win, and I think what we're seeing from the financial markets perspective is trade wars are hard and they aren't easy to win. China, as Alan mentioned, hit back at those rare earth minerals. That will really hurt American companies that are, making batteries and high-tech medical devices. That will really leave a mark on the innovative side of the economy, and we'll have to see what Europe does now. Does Europe throw fuel on the fire, or do they let this burn on its own?
Alan, how much more aggressive can China be? And actually, if you look at the Chinese market reaction today, what does it tell us?
Well, the Chinese market reaction tells us that people are panic selling. In terms of China's countermeasures to U.S. measures, I think that's about it for now. But the tariffs haven't kicked in yet, so there's still room for either side to do more or pull back. It's noteworthy that China has already imposed those tariffs on all U.S. imports. And based on the current tariffs already announced, that our economists expect trade between the two countries to basically slow to a halt. So what more can China do in this regard? It remains to be seen. But what we've also seen from China is that they've signaled to the domestic audience that it's digging in. In a front page editorial in the People's Daily, party mouthpiece, China said that don't panic, and we've got your back, basically promising to support the domestic economy by stimulating consumption. It also floated previously mentioned measures such as cutting rates and lowering the reserve requirements for banks to support lending. All those measures, they are more likely now because of the market reaction and also because of potential weakness in the economy because of the hit to China's exports.
Yeah, interesting. And Brendan, I was also having a conversation with Ban Boejo of UBS, and China can't change their business model on a dime. So if they can't export to the U.S., they'll probably export to other countries, and then they will be tariffed more from the U.S. So it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can see President Xi Jinping reaching out to countries in South Asia to try to shore up some of those relationships. Countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, where the U.S. The higher tariffs kick in on Wednesday, and as Alan mentioned, there's a very short window for that to happen. So we'll have to see if another day of a punishing market response turns the attitude in the White House. We heard Elon Musk over the weekend talking about a free trade zone between the U.S. and Europe. So perhaps some of those voices will get louder and louder and somehow stop those tariffs from taking effect. But it doesn't look like it at the moment.
Brendan, I mean, do you have a good understanding? Because I've been glued, all weekend with the equation, and of course there are memes, and it's quite funny that the penguins got tariffs and taxed. But at the end of the day, who does President Trump listen to? Is it just himself because he's held this belief for a long time? Is it Peter Navarro? Is it someone else? It
sounds like the sort of more hawkish wing of the economic team that he's listening to. Howard Lutnick, Scott Bessent. He was also on the airwaves yesterday. Look, at the end of the day, Liberation Day is going to turn into litigation day. The courts are really the only thing that look like they have a chance of stopping this. A challenge to the companies will challenge the authority that he's used to impose these tariffs, and that we could see a whole new kind of fight through the courts.